found this Couch to 5K.
I love Couch to 5K.
Yeah, sure enough, I completed it. I felt great. And then I hear in the background, there's a little announcement, it's like, hey, and, the age group, in third place, Robert Gomez. I'm like, wait, what? Third place? I mean, anything. I was just trying to finish it.
Sure.
I went over there, grabbed my medal, and it was just something about that just kind of changed me. It was like, man, I put in all this work, and this is what I accomplished. So what else can I accomplish?
Today, we've got Robert Gomez, the founder, creator of the Midland Run Crew.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
Is it creator or founder? Is it both?
All of the above, I guess. Yeah, creator,
I want to
founder.
use your official title.
Yeah.
Listen, we know about the Midland Run Crew for a while, but we don't know the inner workings of it, other than you guys run a lot.
Right.
What's the Midland Run Crew?
Man, Midland Run Crew, I guess, in one word, is community. We do run a lot. And I guess really behind it all is just, I had started a long time ago with my health career back in 13, somewhere around there, and just started running. My daughter was younger. They started an after-school program, and married, overweight, things like that. Happy.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about right now, Robert. Go ahead.
Yeah. But and so they started an after-school program, and it was after school, and I wanted to keep up with my daughter, and I couldn't. I was like, well, that's not right. Something has to change. But essentially, that's what Midland Run Crew is about. It's not about just having to go out there and run all the time. It's about just building that community and whatever your goals are, right? If it's, I want to be active constantly. We hear so many stories, I want to be healthier for my family. I want to achieve my first 5K. I want to run ultras. There's so many different stories that we get to be a part of. And that's essentially why we wanted to create Midland Run Crew, not just for the aspect of just going out there and running, because there is that negative connotation with running, because there's, hey, if you're in basketball, football, that's punishment.
Right.
Oh, if you didn't show up for this, go run, right? So we're trying to change that it's not a negative connotation, but it's actually like a good way of life. It helps with depression. It helps just to keep that overall health inside of you. And so I think that's really the whole heart of it, and not being discriminative of where people start, right? Whether you start over, whether you're just starting, we want to make sure that everyone's all included. If you want to walk with us, that's fine too. We're always going to be there for you to encourage you. And I think essentially that's what Midland Run Crew is. Yeah.
See, you're smart because you started off with a 5K. My dumbass, sorry. I was like, I did the Couch to 5K program for a little while. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the Nike Women's Marathon in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
But I only did the half.
Yeah.
But still. And so then I started training for that with Team in Training.
Yeah.
And I've not run since then. That was in 2010.
Terra, don't say that you haven't run since. Like, us hardcore runners in the room here.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we obviously know how long it takes to run a 5K, but like for the people out there, like, what kind of time frame are you? How long are you running for?
How fast did you run your first 5K?
So my first 5K, actually, I was very impressed, and I still haven't hit it to this day, but it was about a 7-minute pace, and it was like 21 minutes.
7-minute pace?
Yes, I know.
Dang.
I know. And I still haven't hit it yet, but of course, that was, 10 years ago, so I was a lot younger, things like that. But, there's just, there's always going to be someone faster and everything, but it's always about your personal goals, right? Your personal best. So, yeah. But on average, even if you walked a 5K, most people walk in 15 minutes, 45 minutes. What's 45 minutes out of your day to go walk 3 miles, right?
See?
Yeah. So.
Okay, it's 3 miles. I don't know the
5 kilometers.
And
yeah.
Imperial,
Yeah.
Listen,
I think
America,
I'm
let's
like,
just switch over.
At the end of my training for the half marathon, I would think I was like 11 minutes.
Which is great. See, and when you just went there and you said, I only did a half marathon. Well, we're still 13 miles. And that's what we try to instill with anybody that comes. It's like, it's not only, it is 13 miles. Whether you do it in 11-minute pace, 15 or 7, you're still, the mileage is still the same.
And I'm telling you, like 6 miles of it was uphill.
Oh, my goodness. So you were like halfway there. Like, okay, now you're on the home stretch.
I was just like walking. I'm like, my thighs are going to explode.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful.
Yeah. But you felt accomplished, right? You felt accomplished.
I did.
Yeah.
And I had intended to keep running, but man, my hip was sore for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you're doing it in this climate.
Yeah,
that's
it's
the other
hot
thing
here.
I see.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, and especially this year, I mean, just across the country, it's just been so hot.
Yeah.
But man, it's real beneficial because you're putting your body through those stresses. You run at a much slower pace, but it is what it is, right? You got to adapt to the environment that you're in. I mean, if you're in Colorado or wherever you're at for the altitude, but yeah, I mean, it's, and it is what it is. That's why we do something early in the morning at 5. Because
you do those on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay.
Well, we do. So like our weekly is Tuesday is track Tuesday. We do speed work at Memorial Stadium. And then on Thursdays is our 6 before 6, which is 6 miles before 6 a.m. So even at an average of 10 minutes, you'll still be able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
We still have 3-mile options, but it's kind of like our go-to. And then long run on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So anything, 6 miles plus, something like that.
So you said, like, obviously everybody who joins, has their own individual goals, but I mean, is there a sector of like preparing for competitions? Is competitions like a big part of this?
Yeah, so there is. So I mean, like I had just got finished training for Leadville. We have someone that training for New York and things like that. So there's so many people within the group that's training for different things. We had some people that are CrossFitting, right? And then they're training for that, but they want to build their cardio. So that's the great thing I like about it, because it's not just always running a 5K. We're doing a half marathon training now, but we have people come in and they're CrossFit. We just want to improve on our endurance. We want to improve on our cardio. Well, come out there. I think it's much better when you have someone pushing you, in the sense. And not so much, hey, let's go, like a drill sergeant, but when we're like, say, if we're running together in the morning, and you're like, well, is he going to stop? No, I don't know if he's gonna, well, I'm not going to stop if he's not going to stop.
Sure. Right.
And it's kind of like that unspoken thing, but it's just that inner competition. But then when you're done, you're like, oh man, thanks for doing that. So now it's the unspoken thanks for pushing me, and you didn't even really intend on doing that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's great about it, because you build up that positivity and just push people for whatever their goals. Yeah.
So for somebody outside of here who doesn't run, what is your advice to somebody who's like, all right, I want to get in shape, I want to feel better? How do you get started?
Really, I mean, it starts with walking. Honestly, if you can't run a mile, that's okay. You can't run a quarter mile, that's fine. Start with walking. 30 minutes a day until you start building up that tolerance, right? Because it does take time. Everyone started somewhere. No one just came out the womb just running. But yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's some pretty fast babies out there. I've seen them, and the kids too. Oh my goodness, the kids are so fast. But I would always just say just like 30 minutes a day. I mean, on average, we actually did a 30-minute day challenge maybe about a couple years ago. And just on a regular nice stroll, I averaged about 2 miles. You add that up within a month, that's 60 miles a month. And you're like, wow, that. 60 miles, it's like, but it's broken off in small little chunks. So I would always encourage just start there. When you feel like that's not enough, maybe push yourself to 45 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of increase in small intervals. And it's like, that's still not enough, and I've already kind of improved there. Well, then you start jogging. It's all these small incremental deals. And there's actually a method out there called the Jeff Galloway method, which is a run-walk method. And that's kind of essentially how he has it set up, where you would go for a test, see how far you can jog, log your time. So say you can run 5 minutes, right? Well, you would run for like 2 minutes and walk a minute, and then 2 minutes and walk a minute. You do that for 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden, then it starts becoming a little bit easier. It's small little chunks. It's like that saying goes, how do you eat an elephant, right? One small chunk at a time. Yeah, same with running. Yeah.
See, we could do it.
Oh, yeah, you guys can honestly do it, yeah.
Yeah, we need to do something. I mean, I need to do something. She's fun. So I had no idea. Honestly, when I first got here and I saw, I believe probably at Tall City or something. I was like, all these people coming in. I saw running. I go, look at all these people whose car broke down.
Yes.
Why are they running everywhere? I didn't realize. I thought it was just like, hey, let's get together and have fun and we chit chat and stuff like that. I didn't realize that there was actual marathon training aspects to it. So
yeah,
I mean, how many marathons have you done so far?
I guess technically on the road, maybe about half a dozen or something like that. Yeah, because we do road and trail, but half a dozen on the road, and I don't know how many, lost count of 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons. Are
these like the types where it's like, obviously I know like the New York City and Boston and things like that, but like, doesn't like Disneyland have a marathon or something? Yeah,
I think everyone has one. Disneyland, I mean, actually my wife's been actually telling me, hey, we need to go because their swag, their medals are actually really cool.
Yeah,
and you get Pluto cool. and Mickey and all that stuff. But,
they figured it. Disney figured it out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Disney's always going to find a way to get that done. But, yeah, I mean, and yeah, you have those New York and Chicago, Boston, things like that. And, man, I would love to do those one of these days. But at this point, I kept going further. I kept going further. Wanted to get into trails. And it's a different community than the road community. Not to say one's worse or better than the other, but it's a different vibe. If you say it's a little bit more lax in the trail running community, if you walk, you walk, you trek, that's fine. Where the road running, you're like, oh man, they stopped. Why? Something wrong. Yeah. So it's a different mindset there.
And I've heard these like hundreds of miles type of.
Yes.
Are those considered marathons? Like what are?
That's an ultra marathon.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct. So anything, awesome. So you should be doing some research. So 26 miles, anything over 26 miles is considered an ultra. Whether it be on a road or a trail, it's considered an ultra. And the most common right after a marathon is going to be a 50K, which is like 31 miles. Yeah. Yeah, and then you go to the 100Ks, and then you get into your 100-milers, and they even got like the 200s and the Moab 240 that's coming up here pretty soon. So, yeah, people are they're amazing.
240 miles?
240 miles, yeah.
And how long do you have to complete that 240 miles?
So I believe it's like 5 days, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you're running like a portion of it.
She's like, okay,
yeah, it's not bad.
Well, I don't know if it was like you have 48 hours.
Oh, yeah, no.
I don't know.
10 miles an hour you have to go?
Yeah, exactly. I wish we could, but there are some elites that, they're running 100 miles within 19 hours, 16 hours. It's just amazing what your body can do. Yeah.
Like on those long races, are you literally going the whole time? Do you stop and sleep at night?
So it's a mixture, right? So when you're going out there on the trails, it depends on how fast you're going, right? Some of them, you have a certain time frame that you have to complete it. And some of them, they get there to their aid station, they'll eat, and you're always carrying your running vest that has your hydration, either like water, electrolytes, and you have all your nutrition on your pack. So as you're running and you're fueling yourself, it's just a constant. Yeah. And then there's different aid stations along the way. And so, yeah, there's some people that'll go out there, and if they're fast, quick enough, they'll change their socks, change their shoes. Some may even take a little quick power nap just to continue going on. Well, like the 240, there's times where, you're going to take a nap for like a couple hours, things like that. Yeah. So it depends on the individual and how much time you really have. But everyone always asks, do you keep going? Do you sleep? Or like, no, it's a continuous, it's a clock. So you just keep going.
That's
you run
so
through the
wild.
night. Yeah, you run through the night. Yeah.
That's a different type of person for sure.
Especially on a trail, like you're in the wilderness.
It is. Yes, I know. I love
There's
it.
creatures.
Have you looked into like that adventure racing?
Oh,
Yeah, so I've heard of that. Actually, we had one that they had reached out to us sometime last year, and it was out in, I think, at Lajitas or somewhere. It's like a 5-day like pack, and you carry everything on you. And I'm like, man, that's a different level, because at least with the trail, there's aid stations and there's food, and there's like you got to basically carry everything on you and sleep and make your tent at night. And so I'm not sure if I'm ready for that, but it sounds. It's kind of like one of those, I want to check that off. So maybe
bucket list.
Yeah, the little bucket list, and I think that's part of why I keep doing. It's like I want to make those bucket list check-offs. Yeah,
we watched one on whatever, one of the Discovery networks or something like that, where it was like
so great.
Yeah,
I feel like it was like.
It was in like...
It was well over a week or two even, but it was like in Indonesia, and they would like have to run and go through, mountains and things like that, but then like get to the beach and then, canoe out to a different island and do it all over. They had to
build a raft.
Oh, wow.
I was like...
I need to check that out.
It was really great.
Yeah.
We like to watch it from the couch, right? Like, I was like,
with our popcorn.
Seems easy. Yeah. I'm like, why'd you go that way?
Yeah. You should have went the other way.
Rookie.
Yeah.
So talk about, so Midland Run Crew is a nonprofit.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So actually, we just got our nonprofit status probably about a couple months ago. So we are 501c3 nonprofit. Really, essentially, the reason why we started that, we were an official club, if you will, back in the day. But, it's just a little bit harder to kind of get donations, sponsorships to help us grow. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to get that status. So that way we can also be able to feel back into the community. And so, we do a lot of free stuff, essentially, what we do, what we love to give back. We have, partnership with Centennial Park, which is it's a free workout that we partner with them. We do rescue runners, on the Saturdays where we go walk dogs, things like that. But in order for us to sustain and keep that, we definitely, need some type of funding for that. And, we eventually wanted to put on some free clinics for kids and things like that. So that's kind of in the future. Also scholarships. We're looking into maybe possibly offering scholarships at the for some type of continuing education at the end of it. And as we build, hopefully we have that opportunity to do that, because we don't want to just be, hey, gimme,
right.
where we can, well, thank you for the money. We're going to use that
Right.
to pour back into the community. So that's essentially why we wanted to become a nonprofit.
Did you have some sort of first of all, how long has the Midland Run Crew been established?
So it started off kind of funny. I'll kind of backtrack on that. So back in 2013, I started my running career, if you will. And in 2016, I was going to church one morning, and I was like, man, I walk in and I see a big sign that says Run Club. I'm like, oh man, this is God telling me, I've got to start a run club. So I would go up there and I walk up and I say, hey, how do you join the run club? And he goes, oh, well, sorry, sir, this is for women. I was like, women? I said, okay, so where's the men's group? And he goes, oh, we don't have one. I'm like, well, how do we start one? And so back in 2016, I actually started what was called Stonegate Men's Running Club. And it was nice. We kicked off. It was just us, it was just a few, my brother and Marco. It was like 3 or 4 of us. And we just started recruiting men as we continued growing. Then somewhere along the lines, someone like, hey, well, my wife or my girlfriend wants to come and run. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, sure. And he goes, yeah, well, it says men's running group. I was like, oh yeah, well, that's fine, And so eventually we started growing that way. And then later on, we're like, well, let's just change this up so there's no confusion. Well, in my mind, I'm like, I want to put 432, right? Engulf the whole area code. And I really want to grow this. And we started with the 432 Run Crew back in about late 18, 19, somewhere right around there. And it started, kicking off pretty well. But then everyone else started, putting out their local clubs, and, Andrew's Running Club, and, the West Texas Gazelles, Odessa. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. We love seeing that. But at the same time, we're like, well, if they're going to start theirs, we might as well have something exclusive to Midland, right? And so back in 19, we decided to change the name to Midland Run Crew. And it was so funny because, right around that pandemic era, we had the mayor, Patrick Payton, come out and join us,
Nice.
One night at one of our Tall City Beer runs, and it was kind of one of those things, you guys stay like 6 feet apart and things like that. So, well, we're running outside. We're pretty much apart,
Sure.
But man, he posted one day saying, hey, I want to go join the Midland Run Crew. I think it was for Midland or 432. It might have been the Midland Run Crew, but he said, I want to go join them. And man, from that day, he just people just started coming up. They didn't really know that, we had been doing this, and thanks to our mayor that had done that. And then it just started kind of building on top of that. And, it was right around, like I said, around the 2020, and Tall Cities kind of started, going down, and, we ended up having to do beer runs. We go over there, get a growler, and then go take a picture, and then go. And so we just we got to keep these guys open, go stop by, buy a growler, and go home and drink it. So it was pretty cool, yeah. But that's how we established about 2019.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was the sort of trajectory like? What did you have on your roadmap, I guess? So I did there.
Yeah.
In terms of obviously it seems like it was a, evolution,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Of what you started to sort of what it is now, or, versus when you started, what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that? And then where are you looking to go in the future?
Yeah, I guess where it started, like I said, it was just initially just to, get healthy and create some type of fellowship. And
Right.
then
Just club.
Yeah, a club, right? And then we just started getting all that traction. A lot of people started joining us, and then they would always just ask us all the time, like, well, how do I become a member? How do I become, well, we're a club. Just come and join us for free. Yeah, we're not going to charge you to go run, right? You can go run in your backyard.
There's no application
Yeah,
process.
there's no application process, a little vetting process maybe. But no, but it was nothing like that. It was like, they just come and join us. But we're like, well, we started, hearing that more and more often. I was like, man, we really got to do something. And that's where we kind of went to the official club, if you will. But then, we're buying T-shirts. We're trying to, we're like, oh, we made a couple for us. And then they were like, well, I want one. I'm like, okay, here we go, swag, merch, yeah. But everyone just liked it. And so we're like, well, now they felt like a part of something. Well, I'm a part of it. I got the T-shirt on, And so we started that, and it started trickling on. And once that happened, I was like, okay, we really need to start making, because people kept asking about memberships, and I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I think we have enough following, and we have enough base that we can make this thing happen. And sure enough, we got all the process going, built the board out and everything, which is amazing. But now it's like, where can we go? And that's where I think the trajectory, the roadmap, if you will, I think that's going to be, we'd like to have, 100, 200, whatever members in there. But not only just us, but for them to have build their own little pockets, because not everybody can run 5 a.m. or in the afternoons or stuff like that. We don't want it to just be about us. We want, hey, well, you make some friendships, you make some connections. You're still a part of us, but create your own little communities within Midland, right? And it's like, oh, they run over here on Sundays or whatever. You're still the Run Crew member, right? But then you're doing your own individual goals. Yeah. So eventually, I would love to see that in the landscape that, because eventually I'm not going to be here, one of these days. So
you're going to be out running 800 miles.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, y'all take care of it. Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty cool. Yeah.
So you're rolling out memberships, not like official memberships?
Yes.
How does that work?
So you sign up, it's we have it $50 for up to a family of 4, $40 individual, 20 for students and 20 for veterans. I said, and you get a T-shirt with it and a car decal. And that's annually. So it's cheaper than a cup of coffee.
A year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and like I said, you can run free in the backyard. So why do we want to? But we want people to have skin in the game and also feel like, I'm a part of something. And that's essentially why we're going out for the sponsorships and donations, things like that. That essentially will help us continue to grow, and then if, they'll come, it'll happen. I think we have enough support, and they, if they want to make a donation or if they want to, it's just great. Yeah.
Are you looking at any sort of do you have an official headquarters or facility or anything? Are you looking into that?
So we were thinking about that too. Yeah. So, we had talked with Midland Athletic Company, had a couple little spots there, just kind of like a headquarters where we can kind of pop in, maybe do some computer work, things like that. Eventually we'd like to see that, right now it's just kind of, we work respectively from our house and we have people that kind of just, I'll do the Instagram, and Lanita Torres, she'll do the Instagram, and then we kind of share the roles, right? But now with our official board, we have an accounts receivable, accounts payable, secretary, and so now we're kind of really building that out, and it's exciting because now it's like, oh, this is cool, and I've been on boards before, and so I'm like, okay, I think I kind of know what I'm doing, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Is this your full-time role?
No, actually, no. So I
What do you do? Yeah, what is your background?
Yeah, so so I'm in oil and gas, right?
What?
Of course, I know, right? Oil and gas
in Midland, Texas.
I know.
Okay.
No, actually, I do gas compression. So I'm a regional sales manager for gas compression company. My job is pretty flexible, work from home, and so essentially that's what allows me to do what I get to do. And they're great, and I get to do this, and the majority of the time it's early in the mornings, Saturdays. So as long as I don't take away from work, I'm pretty good. But yeah.
You're not on the treadmill on Zoom calls.
Actually, it's so funny because I'm on LinkedIn too, right? Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn. I do a lot of posts. Right, believe it or not, I do a lot of posts, putting in stuff. Hey, come buy my product and things like that. And I had this idea because our compressor valves, kind of run longer than every competitor. So I'm like, I'm gonna get on the treadmill and be like, nothing else runs faster than me or longer than me than our valve, And I was just gonna put something corny out there, just it's just to have fun with it.
Crush.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
I had not yet.
You should do it.
I know. Well, I was like, who's going to record me? I got to set up probably the whole setup. Yeah.
We'll come help you.
Yeah. I think I might know somebody.
Yeah.
I might know somebody.
Put together a little.
We got a gimbal.
Yeah.
Little commercial.
Yeah,
That
for
would
sure.
be so funny.
For sure.
What I love about Midland Run Crew is like you were saying, it's community, but with Popcorn going through his cancer journey, and that story in itself is crazy, and we should get him on at some point.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
But the way y'all all rallied around him.
Yes.
so sweet.
Well, and that's the thing, Popcorn was pretty much, he's been a pillar to this, and he started this 20 some odd years ago, right? And so he was kind of like just that example that, like, man, I love how he's doing, how he's involved with the community and what he does. And, and honestly, if he hadn't paid that way, I mean, who knows if I would have continued doing what I was doing, but he was like, when they had his running community, the West Texas Gazelles here, and that was really like the only running group in town. And so it was kind of like, I don't want to conflict with that, but also ours is a little bit different, right? Yeah. And I, me and Popcorn are great friends. We talk, and I said, you don't mind, like, this is our, and no, I'll support you guys or whatever. But yeah, whenever he found out that he had, lymphoma, and it was just like, man, and someone that runs all the time and stays healthy and eats right, and it's a hit of reality that says, man, this can happen to anybody. And not to deter, like, well, I guess I won't run, right? I mean, it's going to attack to anybody, but if he hadn't done that, I mean, he wouldn't be, successful in his therapies and things like that, where if he had just been a lazy person, or I don't know, someone that just really didn't take very well care of their body, that who knows how hard it would have taken them. And so, yes, when we rallied upon him, it's because he's family, right? That's where that community comes from. We care for each other, and that's one of the big stories. But there's all these other little backstories that you probably don't hear. It's not as big, or things like that. We've had some people that they're dealing with mental stress or things like that, and we rally behind them. Making sure we're talking to them and things like that. So a lot of people say, "Hey, man, you run a lot. What do y'all do in the morning?" Like, we talk. Like, you can talk and run? I was like, yeah. People think we just put our
just sprinting.
Yeah, sprinting, or we put music on and we go. But no, we do life together, essentially, because we run, we talk about things, what's going on in our lives, and hey, what's the next coming race, and what shoes are we wearing,
Yeah.
It's just an array of different conversations, but that's the great thing about it, because now everybody can just talk and, sometimes let things off their shoulder, and sometimes in the morning you're pretty vulnerable, you're just waking up and you're building a lot of time with people. And it's like, man, I really need to get something off my chest, or I need to tell you. And if we could be a part of that little bitty story, or just that little influence, I mean, that's what makes it worth it, honestly. Yeah.
How many miles a week do you run personally?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the training block, but I mean, on average, it might be like 3 miles on Tuesday, 3 miles on Wednesday. So maybe 20 miles a week. I mean, I don't think it's real crazy. I mean, some people that don't run, be like, oh my gosh, 20 miles. But when you break it down, I mean, it's really not a whole lot of miles, and it's broken up. Sometimes it's speed work, and so you're speeding up, like you were saying, you're sprinting. And then we have intervals, so it just depends, but that's probably on average, Yeah, on average.
When y'all do your long Saturday morning runs, like, how long are those typically?
So typically it's 6 miles or more. So anything from about an hour to a couple of hours, we're out there.
Terrible.
No, and it's a much slower pace. We tend to do what we call zone 2, like a conversational pace. And so if you can run and talk, that's where you want to be. If you're out of breath, slow down. Yeah. And so we go out there, and it's more time on our feet. And again, it's more time for us to converse and hang out and things like that. So yeah, anything about an hour to a couple hours. Yeah.
I know zone 2.
Yeah.
From Peloton.
Yes.
It's the same, right?
Same thing. Yeah. It's all within your heart rate, right? Your heart rate zones. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Shout out to Matt.
There you go.
I haven't been there in a while, Matt. I apologize, but
Who's Matt?
The Peloton instructor.
What's his last name?
Matt Schmatt. I don't know.
Matt Peloton.
Yeah. Matty P.
Matty P. That's my boy. That's my boy.
God, now I can't tag him. Terra.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You could cut that out. Hey, Just King.
So, you mentioned shoes earlier. So, like, what are your top 3? Like, what do you recommend?
Oh my goodness! Right now, man, I really love the Sauconys, the Endorphin Pro 3s. They're just a really good shoe. Has a carbon plate underneath it, and people are like, what carbon? But it's really cushiony. It's a kind of a mixture between a speed shoe and a long distance shoe. So I've been really loving that one here recently. Before that, it was the Endorphin Speeds, which is they have a nylon base one, a plate inside there.
What is that for?
So really, it's kind of like a diving board, if you will, right? So like it kind of gives you that response, that little squish back, and then plus you have the foam. So it really actually helps you propel as you run. So the harder you run, the more response you're going to get out of it.
Interesting. Did you read the book? Was it Born to Run?
So I started reading it, but I haven't read it completely. But
it's so great, but like that's all like barefoot running and those Vibram 5 fingers.
Yes,
Do you like get into that sometimes, where you're just like,
well, you got the toe shoes?
No, I used to back in the day.
Okay. I did too.
Yeah, because that was a thing, right? It was like it was a thing. You were cool. You went to the gym, and
I mean, I don't know that we were.
That was cool.
That was a cool. I know, right? It was a
Nerd
cool thing.
alert.
They looked terrible.
They did,
but they felt good on your feet.
Yeah.
It made your toes like breathe.
Yeah.
I also love toe socks. So
There's 3.
And actually, like anything really Hoka. I mean, I think I like a lot of their stuff. Clifton 8, Clifton 9s are really good. Their Speed Goats on the trail are really great. I think those would be probably my top 2 right now, especially
that's a
for
good looking shoe.
And for a while when Hoka came out, I mean, it kind of looked like a Sketcher, and like nobody really liked it.
I mean,
I see people wearing them all the time. I didn't know it was like a running.
Yeah, I just assumed it was some sort of fashion trend that had taken on from Gen Z or something. Because I go like, what is this name of this shoe? I was like, is it from Hawaii or something? Or like...
Yeah, like Hoka Ona One.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, but I mean, now I see everybody. What's the other one that has a little... It's like a circle with a...
Oh, the Ons. Yeah.
Ons?
Yeah, it's like a Swedish shoe. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, even walking through the airports or something, it's like...
Oh, maybe that's the one I'm thinking
It's
of.
the only shoes I see everybody wearing. I go, hey, everybody, what happened to Chuck Taylors?
Yeah.
Where did those go? So you don't recommend Chuck Taylors for road running?
I guess if you could, if you wanted to, but I mean, I use them at the gym. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You need ankle support.
I broke my foot in 2016.
Oh, wow.
It was nothing super cool I'm doing. I was literally walking. But I was also in the Seattle area.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor's like, all right, well, you have to stop wearing Chuck Taylors forever. That didn't happen for me. But and they were like, you have to wear like New Balances or something. Is there something about New Balance that... I thought they were just a dad shoe.
Well, and they were for the longest time, right? But I mean, it's just like anything that goes in phases. Now they have like the fresh foam, and it's kind of like the Hoka, just really cushiony, especially if you're on your feet for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's where you saw like maybe the Hokas are real popular because they're designed for maybe nurses or doctors or things like that. They're on their feet so long, and it takes a lot of that pressure.
That thick sole.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I just basically I agree. I'm in my 40s. Tara's pushing 29.
Yeah.
So's Robert. We went to school together.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you guys. Oh man,
For
you
both
guys.
Yeah,
29.
29.
Perfect.
Great,
Yeah.
cool. So I'm the old man. It's fine, but understand keeping up with your health.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just had a physical. Not going to be thrilled with the results, I'm sure, but definitely it's obviously I can see the benefit of this, and it does sound. And I love the community aspect of it as well. But let's be real. I also don't want to get laughed at for wearing the terrible shoes. So that's part of the question why I ask. I'm not going to get laughed at for just going out there, but I don't want people going like, look at this.
What is he wearing?
Look at this nerd.
You're right.
With some Nikes on or something. You know what I mean? So I want to be in the cool crowd.
Yes.
And then, obviously work up with the running and everything.
Beginning runner.
Yes.
Like, we're going to go to Midland Athletic Club after this. We're going to pick out some shoes so we can start doing the Tall City Beer runs on Thursday and work our way up.
Yes.
What shoe would you recommend?
Really, I mean, everyone's different, honestly. I mean, you can start off, they have some great New Balances. The Hokas are really great because they're, like I said, if you haven't been running in a while, you may want that cushion, so the balls of your feet don't hurt. But honestly, you go over there, you ask that group, Midland Athletic Company, will outfit you with the right shoe that you need. Depending, they'll ask you, what are you doing now? Are you just starting? Things like that.
Okay.
Really, honestly, all of them are really great shoes. It's just depending on the preference and how it fits you, things like that. But those would probably be like, New Balance, Hokas, even the Sauconys. Those are really great everyday shoe that you can either wear to the gym, you can go walking. So it's a really great shoe.
Okay, yeah, definitely something for somebody who's a broken foot. So that's I think that's one of my
Well, you have
concerns
like
too.
flat feet. Like I have narrow, high arches.
Yeah, and they have a
so
foot
different.
mapping system too,
cool.
so you can put your foot in there. They say, hey, well, you may need a neutral shoe or supportive shoe. So that's one of the great things about that too. So it's not just like, you don't have, takes the guesswork out of it, and so you can just go there and like, well, you may want to try this shoe. Yeah.
What if I need like one platform? I just got the one tall sole.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You can go see Dr. Christian at Society Chiropractic, and he'll fix you right now.
All right, this is, man, you got me going everywhere. Girl.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the actual, like the barefoot shoes that are like super,
Oh, like the thin.
that are like supposed to get you grounded or something like that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, and I used to run in ultras too. It's a 0 drop shoe, and when we say 0 drop, that just means it's kind of like a high heel, right? It's either up here wearing your stilettos, or you're going down here with your flats. So that's essentially 0 drop. There's no height to it. We're saying like my shoes right now has like an 8 millimeter drop, so that's from the toe to heel. But really, it's just like you read in that book, right? Born to Run. It's like getting the kids or getting your foot back to the way it was supposed to be designed, and not catered and cushioned off there,
Snuggled.
yeah,
Snuggled up, yeah.
I've seen videos of apparently how your foot is supposed to be
Yes.
designed and look, right? And it was sort of gnarly, right? And I was like, oh, okay, like just big Fred Flintstone feet, looking type of things, right? But I guess like before shoes,
right?
essentially, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Where hey, your bare feet are touching everything, and right, they're like really hard and gnarly, and
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
like your big toes, your big toe and all your toes were essentially like very similar in size.
Yeah, didn't have any kind of
Because just your feet are conformed.
exactly, and we do this to like to our kids. I mean, since they're babies. I mean, the little kids have baby Jordans. They're like, why,
Because they're so cute.
Yeah, it's all about the kid. But then it's like, but you see the kids running around in their bare feet all the time. Just like they don't care. They're just trucking along with those 2 pedals.
Do you have people that run barefoot?
So I don't know if anybody like in our group does, but I know like a lot of them will run the ultras, the 0 drop, more minimal shoe. They want to feel the ground, they want to touch it, because that's also another thing. Too much cushion, it's kind of hard to determine how hard you're hitting the ground. Things like that can cause shin splints and stuff like that. But so when you're actually naturally and a lot of times I'll even take my shoes off and go over to the track and just run the turf, right? Just feel the ground and get that natural feel to it. Because again, you're in shoes or work boots all day, or high heels or sandals. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty prone to spraining my ankles, to rolling my ankles a lot.
Yeah.
Especially my right foot, and I get nervous. You know what I mean? And just that's why I kind of stick with the same shoe all the time. Because as soon as I go to a different shoe, I'm not really used to it. Like an athletic type of shoe or something, I'm going like, it's not going to be long before I roll this ankle. I can almost guarantee it. So it's been really hard. I've never really tried to go get my foot professionally scanned.
Yeah.
To really go like, what's going on here?
And I definitely would. I mean, I definitely would just take a look at your foot and your ankle. I mean, when I first got into trail running, my ankles hurt like crazy. Well, because now instead of just running, now you're articulating. You're jumping from rocks to rocks, and it's just. But you're building that strength on your ankles. And so, we've had a lot of people actually that been running with us that now they love the dirt, they love hitting the trails, and it's a different environment, right? You're not constantly, house, there's, tree. Oh, there's the other day we almost got sprayed by a skunk. It was so funny. I know. Thankfully, I did not.
Oh.
Yes. We went to the Midland trails, and we're running, dark in the morning, and I'm running like, hey guys, just going. And all of a sudden, I mean, I kid you not, I probably screamed like a girl that morning. I'm like, because his tail was up, and I was like, he was ready. And I'm just like, please don't, it was Sunday morning. I was about to go to church. I'm like, please don't. And it's like, man, and I dodged that bullet, right? And I kept going, but I yelled back, like, hey, there's a skunk. And then all of a sudden I hear the guys, or the crew in the back of me, he's chasing you. It's like, what? And I my little headlight, it comes back around, and he's just coming, going with his little tail, like, dude, this guy has a vengeance. But
he was just trying to see what your pace was.
Yeah. We're trying to
keep. He was motivating you.
He motivated me.
You had a stopwatch?
Yeah. So I kept going, and it felt like he chased me for a while, and then finally I was like, okay, he's gone. And later on down in the trail, here he comes again. It's like, I guess you're invading my territory, buddy. Yeah. So it was a close call, but it's really hilarious. Fun. It was fun.
Could you imagine rolling up into Stonegate?
Oh my God.
Freshly sprayed by
I was like, where can I get a big cans of tomato sauce that I could like take a bath in before I go to church? Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have regular events? Do you have any events coming up or?
Yeah, I mean, so like our weekly, like I said, Tuesdays is track Tuesdays, and Thursdays is our 6x6 and long run Saturdays. Every third Saturday of the month we have Centennial Park right here downtown. Again, free event, 8:15 and 9:15. Super easy. It's all levels, of course, right? We mix it up. We call it Rise and Run, but we mix it in, with some calisthenics, some workouts, things like that. And actually, the first and third Saturday of the month, we do rescue runners over at the Animal Services. And another thing, we just go out there, walk dogs, and, hopefully, yeah.
I need you to send me that because I love that. And I also want to get it onto the website. But
yeah. No, we'd love to get you guys connected over there because it really is. I mean, since we started, I wish I had the number on me, but so many dogs have been adopted because they went out and, got to have that experience with the dog and then took them home. Or took her home. Yeah. And so it's really cool. So we got that. We got quite a bit. Actually, upcoming here, Urban Air, we have a free run event, if you will. We partner with them, just a free run event on September the 23rd. I believe we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's a 1K fun run, 5K, no chip time. Just go out there, have fun. Come back. You actually get a discounted bracelet. So they have different levels. And so, like, you get the highest bracelet you can get and at a discounted rate. And so you can go and do the sky track and jump and things like that. But 20% of those proceeds actually comes back to the Midland Run Crew. So that was a great thing. That's a great thing about our community. People want to help, right? And so when Gina Marie at Urban Air, we talked and it was like, man, I want to help you guys. And then plus it's given that aspect of running and building more on top of them. So it's just great, just creating that partnership just with them and others here in the community. So yeah, nice. It's pretty cool.
Very cool, man. Yeah. It seems like you're doing a lot. I mean, we see you guys everywhere. We see that swag everywhere too.
Yeah,
which is good. I'm glad. We got more coming.
Yeah, listen, your branding is top notch.
Thank you.
That is for sure. Do you have any sort of like, I'll say mentors or just people that you like? What are your thoughts on like a David Goggins or like people are like big personalities that like really into this? Like, do you follow that type of thing, or those type of people or anything like that?
See, I have a lot of runners in our group that do. Kind of they get like that the idols and stuff like that. And there's a great people out there, like Courtney DeWalter. She just finished like UTMB. She's like on it right now. There's so many out there, and just like you said with David Goggins. And I think really like for me, I do kind of look out to those people like, man, that's so cool, that they can actually achieve that. But that's, for me, it's not my personal goal, but I do want to eventually run my 100-mile one of these days. But, I think it's whatever motivates people. So whether it be, Courtney DeWalter, David Goggins, I think there's a few others out there that I'm probably forgetting their names. But
isn't there like a ex-Navy SEAL? He has like I think a documentary coming out, if it's not out, like One More Mile or something, where it sounds like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen the trailer or anything. I've just seen a couple of things, but like he does these ridiculously long runs, right? Trails, marathons.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, it sounds like it's hundreds of miles. And I was like, but he's just like, this is my life. This is what I like to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Have you heard of that? Man, I wish I remember the name. Somewhere I think in the Midwest or something, where it was like they just run 1 mile, but they keep running the same mile, and it's just like
it's kind of like a last man standing.
Yes, you just go. It literally is until you just can't go, and there's one person.
Yeah, and one person that wins. Yeah, I think. Well, Nick Bear, like I don't know if you're familiar with Nick Bear. He's kind of one of the Bear Performance Nutrition product. He's out of Austin. Man, I think so. That would probably be one of the guys that I have seen like actually on the course and ran. I'm like, oh my gosh, there he goes, But it's amazing how he's such a big dude. He's like 6 something and just like 200 something pounds, and like, how do you move that body so much, But I come thinking like rhinos, right, or something like, hey,
right.
but they have that speed, but he just has that strength. And so, me with my stature, I'm like, well, I'm kind of short, but I'm a little bit bigger build than what a traditional runner would be.
Marathon runner.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And so I'm kind of like, all right, well, I got to move this weight too, So I guess he would probably be one of the guys that I would like kind of look up to, just because, if he could do it, I could probably do it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a video where it was just like, they just keep running the same mile over and over again continuously. And yeah, the one person, and then they were like, there's no prize.
Yeah.
You don't win anything.
Yeah.
It's literally just to go like, I just want to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is a different person.
Right? It is.
It's a lot of, I respect people who are just like, I just want to do hard things for the sake of doing hard things.
Yeah. And that's a great thing. I mean, doing hard things for the sake of hard things, because like I said, it's all what your personal goals are, right? I mean, if you want to know for yourself that you can do that, right? You just want to know that you can achieve that. And if it isn't hard, was it worth it? You know what I mean? I told my kids this oh my gosh, it was 2 weeks ago. So I attempted Leadville 100, and man, it's just actually my second year trying, third year going over there. So the first year I paced my buddy Abe, and I helped pace him like 16 miles of the trail. And man, I just fell in love with the trail. Like, man, if I did 100 miles, it's got to be here. So last year or the year before, I got my first opportunity. Jumped in like, I got in late. One of the fundraisers for First Ascents that they were doing, someone had dropped out. And so when they dropped out, it was like, all right, there's an opportunity for me to get in. I don't have to qualify or anything like that. I just got to raise money. And so I was like, okay, well, man, this is, God's sign telling me, hey, you're going to be able to do this. This is 6 weeks out.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, or maybe even 8, but it was very minimal. And I had already, I was already signed up for the MS 150. I wasn't really training, but I had like my base miles. And I went out there and I just gave it my all, right? I gave it my all, got to mile 50, and within seconds, I did not make the time cutoff.
No.
I mean, it was literally, I'm running and there's the what they call the cutoff queen. And within seconds, like I can see the timing mat, and I'm sprinting, and she's like, in between me and the timing mat, and I'm like, and she says, no, yeah, she said, like, no, you're done within seconds. That's how strict they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, walk us through, if you can, that the mental side of, being at the starting line of a potential 100-mile race. Like, what is going through your head constantly?
Oh man, different things. Sometimes it's I don't want to say fear, but it's kind of like fear of the unknown. You don't know what's gonna take on for that day. Especially this last time with the heat. You don't know if you're gonna have an injury. You don't know if you're gonna fall. So there's a lot of unknowns going in. So there's that nervousness going in. There's like, okay. And then you just got it, and your heart's racing, right? But then there's also the adrenaline, the excitement, because you have thousands of people that are going to tackle the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, okay, I feel good. I'm not alone in this, right? And so really the initial part is just, it's the unknown of what's going to happen. And that's what you fear, right? And most people fear the unknown or what they can't control. Mm-hmm. And so there's just something that clicks all of a sudden. It's like, okay, just go for it. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. You can't control it. You just go. You try to run the best race you can, and see what happens, right? And that's that's the way I kind of approach everything, right? And I think even in life, that's why I love running. It's a great analogy in life. Is a lot of people fear things, right? They fear the next day. They fear maybe a situation, right? But unless you just go and do it, you don't know what's going to happen. So just go for it. And I think I approach every run like that. And even like on a 5K, I mean, 100 miles, 5K, it still has that same kind of nervousness, right? You just don't know what's going to go on, and you just got to break through there and and keep going. Yeah, one foot in front of the other until you're done. Yeah.
Is there a point where you kind of just zone out? Like, is it like, I can, like, getting tattoos, like in my sort of world, it's like, okay, yes, it hurts in the beginning, and then at just some point you're just like, I'm in it, right?
Yeah, and it's very similar to that. Everyone's different, but it's very similar to that, where you get in your headspace, right? You start thinking about things, and you're on the trail. Initially it's a big group. Pretty soon it starts scattering out, and then you're alone. You're in there. Some people listen to music. I tend to not. I love just hearing the environment, things around, and I just get in my headspace. I'm like, okay. And I start having conversations with myself. Hey, you can do this. It's not hard. And then there's times like, oh, it is hard. Why did you even do this? Why did you sign it?
Yes, it is. No,
yeah.
it isn't.
Yeah. So you have this constant wrestle with yourself. But then, we always try to tell people, like, put those positive things like, well, it's just a race, or it's just a couple miles, or just do it 1 mile at a time. You try to reinforce yourself. But then you do get in those like really deep trenches, like, oh my gosh, I don't even think I can do this. Why did I sign? Am I trained up enough? So it's a roller coaster of emotions, but being able to just experience all those emotions is, I think, what makes it worth. But I do zone out and just like, okay, all right, until you see like your crew or your crowd or your family, and they're cheering you on, and they're like, oh, this is why I'm doing it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I always tell people that, you got to try to find out your why. Yeah. Why you're doing it's going to help you out and make you get to reach your goals. Yeah.
So next you said there's 150 you're looking?
No, not me. Not me. No. So my buddy Abraham, he's going to be running the Moab 240.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over there and help pace him, because I don't know if I would do 240 in my lifetime.
Yeah, we've got him next weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, he's such a great dude. He's such a great dude.
I loved reading his updates while you were running the Leadville.
Yes.
And you started to say it earlier, but like, what was it that you said to your kids? Because when I read it, like, I'm such an emotional person. I'm not going to cry right now, but like literally brought me to tears.
Oh my goodness.
Like, I love this.
Yeah, it was a hard pill to swallow the first time when I DNF, because that was the first time and if you don't know, DNF did not finish, right? And so the second time, my family's there, things like that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this happened again. And I trained harder and longer, and Abe coached me, so great, and I'm like, I felt way more prepared, but I wasn't prepared for the heat and whatever else. And that's why I always say, race day is race day, right? And you never can prepare for that. And that's that unknown, that nervousness I had talked about. Yeah. And then whenever I finished up, and, they take you back in the van, because they have to come all the way around the mountain. And, I'm thinking in myself, I didn't finish. But my family was just so happy that, oh, Dad, you did such a great job. We're so proud of you, and things like that. And it was just something that God put in my heart. It's like, you just don't, you don't fear, you don't fear what you can't do, right? I'm trying to remember how I phrased it, because it was just on the spur of the moment. It was, I thought that me doing that race was for me, and it really was more for my kids to see, that says, you shouldn't fear doing hard things, right? Because you're going to fear you're going to tackle hard things in life all the time. So don't fear it. Just hit it straight hard, face first, one foot in front of the other, and you just go for it. You don't know what the results are going to come, but don't fear hard things. And I hope that whenever I did that, I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I had a vision where I'm going to be crossing the finish line, and I'm going to be running in with my kids. I'm going to be crying, because I am a crier too. I'm going to be crying, and that wasn't the picture. That wasn't the plan that I had for me that day. And so it just put on my heart that maybe that was a lesson, right? Not only for the kids, but for myself, Yeah. That, I accomplished something, right? I have a lot of friends that tell me, Rob, that's 50 miles.
50 miles.
50 miles.
And it was hot. The elevation.
Yeah.
Because, how do you train for the elevation? There's not much elevation in Midland.
Not here.
Did you, go down to Alpine and,
Well, I did Guadalupe a few times, it kind of simulates that. But, yeah, you just really can't prepare, us flatlanders out here. But, yeah, it was definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. It's like, I feel like what may feel like a failure to one person internally might be someone else's inspiration.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a great point, man. I was like, I'm sitting here listening to your story going like, 5 miles, I'd have been like, dude, you rocked it, bro.
Yeah.
50 miles, man. That's really incredible, man. I'm really feeling, I'm glad you came in today, man. I'm really feeling inspired. I've never been a runner.
Yeah.
The aspect of the thought of running doesn't necessarily they're about to do sound check. So
I was like, what time are they doing sound check?
Doesn't feel like, oh wow, people get, have fun running.
Yeah.
But I love the community aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think I would like cycling either.
Yeah.
Right. And it's okay. But you don't
you
get that
loved
sense.
it.
I mean, you don't get that sense of you're still by yourself. I mean, yes,
Right.
there's people on a screen, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? Like, I think it'd be the same if you were just on a treadmill and just
Yeah, just doing your thing.
yeah, and yeah, you could see your friends and stuff, but like
Yeah.
Your little
on,
high fives.
yeah,
Yeah,
on their
exactly.
Instagram
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, a little
So-
thumbs up. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is something to that where, you know, if you come in here and you're like, hey, just like go run by yourself, which is totally fine. But like, and that's all we do. We just tell people to go run
Yeah.
by themselves.
Yeah.
Right. I would have a completely different sort of perspective on it. But it's like, no, it's like we're hanging out together. We're,
Yeah.
you know, and getting to know each other.
Yes.
It just so happens that we all love running.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, right? Health or just staying fit or just like, yeah, some people just like to run.
They like to run. Yeah. And like you said, that's the hope, right? That's the hope that's the hope that we can let people know that it's okay. Right. You know, and I like what you said, you know, I'm not a runner, right? When you're going out there, you're running a little bit, you're still a runner, right? You know, we have a lot of people that come in all the time. Well, I'm not a runner. I'm not. I'm like, well, you just ran a quarter mile with us. I mean, you're still a runner, right? You ran some of it, right? You know, what defines a runner, right?
Yeah.
If you're going out and doing something and you're jogging or whatever, you're still a runner, right?
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the Band-Aids over your
Yeah.
nipples.
Yeah.
Lose
you
a
know.
toenail.
Yeah. Lose a
toenail.
toenail. Yeah.
You're still
Have
a
you ever
runner.
lost a toenail?
Yes, yeah, plenty of times. Yeah, well, and especially with trail running because
Yeah.
your toes are just hitting all the time on the foot box.
You're
yeah.
losing me, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
We're not trail running, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, and it's mainly downhill, so like we're just like going
Right.
crazy. But
Running
My
downhill
toenails
is
hurt
hard.
just listening to what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah, Just make sure to clip them before you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Listen, man, if do you have anything you wanted to promote or anything?
Man, really, just follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Strava as well. You know, our website's about to be up and live. We currently have one, but it's kind of in the process.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely can find us on there. You know, you can also email us. Midland Run Crew @gmail. Any kind of questions or how to get involved, things like that. Because I know a lot of people may or may not have social media. So it's another great way. We wanted to make sure we have all kind of points there, and then you can just stop by and kind of find us that way. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And in the future, like, please let us know if there's any way that we can help support you guys in terms, from a Best of Midland perspective or a website or anything. We're happy to,
Yes.
love to have a conversation of how we can,
Events and stuff, yeah.
from events or even, finding out like more information or more interactivity, even perhaps.
Yeah.
We'd love to, have a coffee sometime and see how we can,
Yeah.
help you guys out. For
Yeah,
sure.
no, I love that, and I appreciate you guys having me on because this is great, and I love what you guys do. I mean, the best of Midland, right? It just says it all out there, and you're taking the best parts of Midland and highlighting it, and I really appreciate you guys and what you guys do.
Well, we thank you so much for being here today. And like I said, we'll put all the links down in the description below. But hey, listen, if you're in Midland and you love to run or you just want to get fit,
Or looking for your community to
you're looking for
build
your people.
relationships with.
Midland Run Crew,
Yeah,
and go talk to Robert.
Yeah.
If you can hear that in the background, they're doing a sound check right now for a concert across the
Yes.
street at Centennial Park. So
Yeah.
we're going to wrap this up. But Robert, we really appreciate you being
Yeah,
here
thank
today.
you. Thank you.
And we'll see you on the trail.
yeah.
In the streets.
In
road,
streets,
the
on
road. We'll start road
Yeah,
first.
yeah. There you go.
I'm not going couch to 100 mile anytime soon.
Yeah. But we got you if you do.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to stop by Midland Athletic Company,
Yep.
look at some shoes, and we'll talk soon, man.
Yeah. I'll see
All
you,
right.
bud.
We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.